All right, Devontae.
Hello.
Devontae, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
I'm from Tacoma, Washington. Born and raised there. Moved to San Diego after I graduated college. Yeah.
What was your family like growing up?
I would say like my family was very dysfunctional, but very functional at the same time. My family showed me how things weren't supposed to be and taught me right from wrong by showing me what should and shouldn't happen. My family was very loving, very caring, very tight-knit family, very enmeshed, no boundaries. I'm very thankful for my parents because I am where I am now. It's really taught me a lot, but, there's positives and negatives of everything, so.
What were the negatives that you had to deal with?
Just being that like my family was enmeshed so much, I feel like it kind of set me up to be a people pleaser growing up.
When you say enmeshed, what does that mean?
Just no boundaries. It's like being able to put boundaries up, but there is none. So within the family, it's like we're very hands-on, very like every time I talk to you, it's I love you every single time. No boundaries within like me or my parents or, yeah. It's definitely interesting.
What would be the most difficult part of that childhood?
Probably when my parents got on drugs. I was 15 when my parents got on drugs. Before that, a very happy life. Both my parents together. I have two little brothers.
What do you think changed in their lives that they started picking up? What drug would they pick up?
They started doing meth. So my dad used to sell drugs, not drugs, but like weed. We had like a weed room in our house and stuff like that. So I was very exposed, but I think it was more so like they had been around that block before because I moved to Washington from California when I was 3 years old, and they were into drugs then. And I think it was more so like resurfacing of feelings within my parents, and they couldn't go together anymore, so they turned to something else to fulfill that empty hole. It was hard though. It was different. It started off slow, very, very slow. And it's like, I was 15, so I didn't really realize what was going on. And it's like, from like I talked about, no boundaries. My family was enmeshed. Like we are so tight knit to the point where it's like we tell each other everything, even things that we're not supposed to be telling each other.
Would they talk about their addiction?
I mean, they
or
didn't.
Their drug use?
They would talk about their drug use, like past drug use, but not when it was currently happening.
Yes.
I remember finding a meth pipe in my mom's purse and going upstairs and being like, what is this? Because I knew my parents smoked weed and like, sold drugs, whatever, but I was, hip. So I was like, what is this? And then I remember my dad closing the door and telling me like, oh, it's nothing, like yada, yada, yada. You don't need to worry about it. And like my dad's my superhero. So for him to tell me that, it's like, of course I'm gonna believe him. He was someone I could trust. And it's like when you have an enmeshed family, you only have people that are dear to you. So it's like you might have outsiders or acquaintances or friends, but if they're not dear to you, if you don't love them fully, then it doesn't really, it's like kind of like a hierarchy, I guess you could say. But found the pipe, he assured me it was nothing, so I believed him. I mean, 15 years old, naive. Looking back, I'm like, oh wow, like I definitely could have looked into it more, but with the knowledge I had then, I couldn't. So time went on and it started to be like, okay, my parents are gonna be out late, they're gonna go to the casino. So I gotta watch my brothers, which is fine. I love my brothers. Those are my my best friends. Started slowly, then it kind of just kept going, and then it's like, okay, we're not coming home in the morning. You can't go to school. You have to watch your brothers. And it's like, okay. But I was 15, so I'm like, it is what it is.
Your parents would not come home sometimes?
Yeah, they weren't coming home. They wouldn't come home in the morning. They would get home in the afternoon, And I'm talking about like I'm missing school all day. My brother's missing school. My brother was 12 at the time. My youngest was 1. So it was like almost like having a newborn. So that's why I say like those are my best friends. Like I took care of them for real. But yeah, it progressed and got worse and worse. And then things were getting sold. I started having to hide money. I had a hole in the wall. I would hide money because my parents would take our money. TV started getting sold. Game systems started getting sold. Having to take care of my brothers and my mom. I remember she gave me her credit card, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, I have some money to play around with. But it ended up being that like they were maxing out all their other credit cards for bills or whatever they needed. So she just gave me that as like a resource. So at the time, it's like I don't really see all that's happening. And even if I do, I don't care because it doesn't feel like things are going bad. You know, like my parents staying out late or not coming home the next day. I'm just like, all right, like it is what it is. But looking back, it definitely messed me up, you know, but I think it messed me up in the best way possible. It helped me learn like what not to be and know that I just want to be my best self every day. I don't want to have to go through something like that again, you know, checking Walmart cards with money on them to see how much money they have because we don't have enough money to get, you know, dinner, or the lights going off or the water going off, and having to like use buckets of water to shower the next day in the morning. Yeah. I had complete freedom at 15, complete freedom. So I could do whatever I wanted. I could drive wherever I wanted, hang out with whoever I wanted. And, you know, it was a blessing in the moment, but it definitely chipped at me and chipped at me and chipped at me, and it made me feel less than and gave me an abandonment wound. But all this to say, like, things happen for a reason in your life. You know, I am where I am right now because of what happened to me in the past, and you can let things make or break you.
Yeah, it'll either take you down or make you stronger.
Exactly.
How did it turn out for your parents?
We had to foreclose our house, and we moved to my aunt's house. And she already had people living there, so I had to sleep on the floor in the living room. My mom slept in my cousin's room with my 2 little brothers, and my dad would be in and out the house. My dad kind of got into it pretty heavy. My mom decided one Christmas before we moved to my aunt's house that she was done doing all that because we had Christmas and there was nothing. We had a tree and there was nothing.
So she quit?
She quit, yes. After that, she quit. But yeah, I remember waking up in the morning and going downstairs, and all I saw was the presents that I had bought for my parents and my brothers. And I remember seeing my mom crying and breaking down, and I definitely saw that as like a breaking point for her, and she understood like she couldn't keep doing that anymore. My dad, I feel like he just has so much hurt, so much pain, so much misunderstanding of how to go about things that he just kind of suffocated in his own sorrow and took to the streets. Because my parents are from out here. They're from California. They're from the Bay. And they had been around the ringer. They have been involved in stuff like that before. So I feel like for my dad, it almost felt like a place of safety where he could retreat to and indulge in him. But my dad is in prison now. He does get out next month. So I'm very thankful for that. I'm excited to see, you know, how he takes on this new opportunity because it's a blessing. We talk about it all the time. When my mom got clean, she started working at this like Goodwill job, and she kind of worked herself up, and now she has a apartment and with my 2 little brothers. But in the midst of all this happening, you know, I was still young. I still wanted to figure myself out. I still wanted to experience life and all its riches, and so I did. I went to college freshman year, and I signed myself up because I was just like, I had a conversation with my aunt, and she told me, like, you need to get out of here. And I was like, you're right. It was kind of like an intuition thing. And so I did. I went to college, and, you know, I had freedom before, but having freedom away from dealing with your family's problems is completely different than having the freedom and the burden on your back of having to deal with your family's problems.
Right.
So,
How old are you now?
I'm 23.
And you've graduated?
I graduated last year with my psychology degree, and I'm going to get my master's in the fall to become a therapist.
Good for you.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I honestly believe, like, you can do anything what you want in this life. It's all about creating it. Like, if you have a negative mindset, you'll experience negative things. If you have a positive mindset, you experience positive things.
Even if you go through something as dysfunctional and maybe screwed up as what you did?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You can use it as, you use the pain as fuel. It's a really great high-octane fuel.
Exactly. It propels you.
Propels
right?
you, yeah. It's almost like when you don't have it, you miss it.
Right. Exactly. Because you're used to, it's like the novelty wears off. I talk about that with California, because I'm from Washington, and it's like we get all 4 seasons. The rain, the sun, the snow, the wind. Out here, it's just sunny all the time. And you experience too much of one thing, and, you know, it just seems mundane after a while, honestly. But
this went on for 15 until when? Till you left home? And beyond, right?
And beyond. My dad was in the streets for like 7 years, not 7, maybe like 5 years before he went to prison.
Yeah. What about your younger brothers?
My younger brothers, you know, they're still under the house. Like I talked about, we have an enmeshed family. So, you know, I'm the oldest. So I took on the role of being a leader and providing for my family, even unconsciously such. But I feel like my brothers got a little bit worse of the brunt because I was, 15? I had some knowledge, I had some understanding of how life worked and how to get the things I wanted. But they were so young. My brother was 12. So it's like he was in 6th grade going through that transitioning period. And I feel like that's one of the most important periods in your life is that transitioning period, and it kind of just skews your mindset. So my brothers are still at home. They're doing great. They're healthy. They're blessed. You know, they have love all around them. But yeah, I knew that I had to get out and go figure life out, because if not, I would be stuck in the mud of everything that comes with family. You know, family is a blessing. It can be a burden too. And I think that's just the reality of life. Like, everything has that positive and negative connotation to it.
And I'm sure watching your parents use drugs and self-destruct kind of keeps you on the straight path.
For sure. I've had my experiences, though. I feel like you have to go through the experiences to understand what you don't want as well. But like I talked about earlier, my parents did a really, really good job showing me what not to do by their actions. You know, it's different to tell someone, but to actually watch someone you love dearly do things that they're not supposed to do and then reap the consequences, it's just like, why would I'd be a fool to do something of that nature after I already watched someone do that. Yeah.
And so you are starting your career as or you're going to go to master's?
Gonna get my master's. Gonna starting my career. You know, I have this saying about creating your reality. Like I talked about earlier, whatever you focus on, whatever you put your mind to is what you experience. So if you can change your subconscious beliefs into something positive or into something successful, then you will experience that. I journal. I've been journaling for about 2 years now. And in the beginning, it was just writing down feelings, talking about my thoughts and stuff. But as time went, it's like you get to dive deeper into yourself, into your light and your shadow. I keep going back to the positive, negative thing, but it's like we have these notions of positive is good, negative is bad. But that's just the duality, I feel like, of the existence we live in now. But when you realize, in my opinion, that life is a whole, then there is no negative or positive. Like, there's no connotation to it. It is just what it is. Being one with everything, going past the veil. And when I say that, it's like your thoughts aren't you, your emotions aren't you, you are a accumulation of everything. So for me, like, I'm not Devontae. I'm no thing. I have no identification. I am just being. And then it's like, I went through all that stuff and it hurts and I have wounds and trauma and I have to, look within and look to understand and let go of all those attachments. But when I am no thing, then I can just live presently in the moment without attachment to the past. Because honestly, like, I'm right now. I'm not the past. I'm not the future. I'm not what I've experienced. I'm just now in this moment sharing my story. I'm thankful, very thankful. And I think, pain breeds success if you use it in the right way. If you are able to, like you said, talk about fuel, using it as a propellant, like, it'll help you blast off. And it's like, I feel like I used to have the victim mentality of, things happened to me or why did this happen to me? But that's just an attachment to feeling sorry for yourself. And when letting go of that, you can be free. You can take the chains off that hold you down and just be boundless and limitless and experience everything this life has to offer.
Is religion a part of your life?
No religion.
Not at all?
No religion. But I would say I'm very spiritual. I think spirituality is a part of everything, a part of everybody. And my belief that we are all one with each other, regardless of your beliefs. You can be a Christian, you can be a Muslim, you can be a Buddhist, but I think there's truth in everything that is out there that helps teach people about life. For me, I think Christianity is like a book on life, a book on how to be, on how to go through life and get the most out of it. And like I said, there's truth in everything, but I truly believe that you are not you. You're not your identification. And when you're able to see beyond the veil, when you're able to get behind everything you know, you can create whatever you want. But when you're stuck on all these tiny little micro beliefs, it's hard to get into a different mindset or get into a different energy. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about, he has this book called Becoming Supernatural. And it talks about how you can create your reality based on your energy, your frequency, and your belief system. Because you have your subconscious and you have your conscious mind. Your subconscious is like all your beliefs, all the things that you've went through, and all the things that are like hardened in you. Then you have your conscious mind, which like you can speak through. Your subconscious mind feeds your thoughts. So say you have an abandonment wound and you get in a relationship. When you get in that relationship, your mind will feed you things like you're not worthy, or they're gonna leave you, or you shouldn't be with them. And when those thoughts come up, you have the power to let go or to fall into. Thoughts and emotions work simultaneously. And so when you have a thought and then you have that anxious feeling about that thought, it's just energy trapped and stored inside your body. But to release that and to get through that is to feel it. And then you can either reaffirm or you can let the thought flow. Because when a thought pops up, I mean, you can engage, you can resist, or you can bring awareness to. And that awareness is where the money is. That's where you really want to be at. Because if you can be aware of everything, then it's almost like you're creating your reality, right? You have thoughts. Oh, I'm not worthy. I'm not going to think about that one. Or I'm not going to engage in that one. I'm successful. Ooh. And you feel it inside and you internalize that. You can do anything. Just like this. I'm right here with Soft White Underbelly, with Mark, on Father's Day. And, you know, like I've been writing about this. I've been visualizing, feeling what it would feel like to not just be in here, but to have an experience like this, and look what happened. I guess that just goes to say that, like, I'm a testament, and you can be too. But it's just really about, like, how bad you want it, because a lot of people say they want things, but they just think they want it. They're not willing to let go of all their desires to achieve what they really want, which is okay, which is totally understandable, because life is such, you know. But for me, you know, there's unlimited possibilities. And when you step into that unknown and you're able to have no expectations and to let go of everything that might come to you within your mind, then you just get to experience fully in the present what is happening, what is right now. Yeah.
So such a well-adjusted young man.
I appreciate that.
Going through the crap you went through with your parents, I'm sure, helped a lot, right?
For sure. And it's like, obviously I went through bad stuff with them, but, you know, they showed me so much good, so much love. And I really believe that, you know, like, whatever you go through, if you have love and you come from love, then that is the easiest way to get through anything, because you know you have security, you know that you matter, and you know that nothing else matters. I come from love, I come from that enmeshment, and obviously it has its positives and negatives, you know, like, it was very hard for me to set boundaries growing up, and even still to this day, to tell people what's on my mind, to be okay with not being liked. But I'm learning, and I've learned, and there's just so much to experience that, honestly, all the stuff that hurts you, it doesn't matter in the long run as long as you use it to better your life.
That's great.
That's what I believe.
All right. Devontae, thank you so much for sharing your story.
No problem. Thank you.
Wish you lots of luck from here on out.
Appreciate that. You
Thank
too.
you.
When I was designing the first Soft White Underbelly book, I realized that there were so many great portraits that weren't going to make it into that book. They just wouldn't fit. And once I saw how well that first book sold, I knew I'd have to design a second book. This second book is finally ready to ship. Like the first one, this book has a collection of some of the best portraits from Soft White Underbelly, accompanied by a quote from that person's interview. This book features another group of Rebecca portraits, as well as a collection of color images of the Whitaker family, and plenty of others. You can order yours for $125 or $150 for a signed copy at softwhiteunderbelly.org. Again, like the first book, once this book is sold out, I will not be printing more of them. The portraits are what Soft White Underbelly is all about, and these 2 books contain the best of all that work. Thank you for watching.